Welcome to U.S. Immigration TV. On a previous video, I discussed some of the reasons a person should not file for naturalization, as it could be risky for their green card and their future in America. And I invite you to go back and watch that video, part 1. But now, this is part 2. Here are more reasons a person may not necessarily want to file for naturalization because it could be risky or they are not eligible.
You were outside the U.S. too long. Now, some lawful permanent residents treat their green cards like they were tourist or visitor visas. They're outside the U.S. most of the time, possibly to be with their family members abroad, or maybe they still have a business or job outside the U.S. And then they come and they, quote, visit the U.S. for a short time using their green card. You have to know that eligibility for naturalization requires that a person must be physically present in the U.S. for a certain period of time before their application for naturalization, or their naturalization will be denied. So, for example, a person could be denied or be ineligible for naturalization if the person was outside the U.S. for over 1/2 of the 5 years that they were a green card holder, or a cumulative total of over 30 months during the 5 years before filing their naturalization application. Now, if they are naturalizing in 3 years based on a marriage to a citizen, they should not have been outside the U.S. for more than 18 months in the last 3 years. I know in one person's case, their naturalization application was denied because he was 19 days short of those 30 months of being physically present in the U.S. Had been going back or leaving the U.S. a lot, working abroad. And when he finally filed the naturalization, he lacked 19 days of being physically in the U.S. Another grounds is that the person was outside the U.S. for over 6 months in a row on a single visit. So being outside the U.S. for over 6 months on any single trip ordinarily breaks or disrupts the 5 years of continuous residency, and the person would then be eligible to apply typically 4 years and 1 day from their most recent return from their trips abroad. Another reason a person should not file for naturalization is if they previously claimed to be a U.S. citizen. If a non-citizen, and that includes a green card holder, claims to be a U.S. citizen, this could have absolutely devastating effects on their eligibility for naturalization and could even jeopardize their green cards. In some situations where a person may have claimed to be a U.S. citizen, it could include, for example, they registered to vote or they voted in a federal election. It's very easy to do so, to register to vote. Sometimes when people renew their driver's license or they walk outside a grocery store, people have those clipboards and have them register to vote, and they go ahead and they register and then they vote. That can be devastating. Another claim to be a U.S. citizen is that the person may have claimed to an employer on their Form I-9 to be a U.S. citizen to be able to work. Another reason a person may not want to file for naturalization, or where it could be risky, is that they did not work for their petitioning employer. Now, of course, while many people obtain a green card through a family petition, others may obtain a green card through an employer's sponsorship, perm or labor certification, which requires that the person actually work for the employer once they obtain their green card. Now, some people may have been petitioned by an employer, but they never worked for the employer, or they quit the job before the green card was granted. Now, if a person obtained a green card through an employment-based petition and they then file for naturalization, one of the first questions the officer will ask you is, how long did you work for the employer after you got your green card? And they may even want to see your pay stubs to verify your pay stubs, your tax returns, or anything else to prove you worked for the employer after you got your green card. Well, if you never worked for the employer, it could be you were never lawfully admitted or you obtained your green card through fraud because you lacked the intent to work for the employer who's petitioning you. Just like if you marry a U.S. citizen, you're expected to live with the citizen. If you are being petitioned by an employer, you are expected to work for the employer. Another reason a person may not want to naturalize or where it could have devastating effects is if you have a CESPA child or a child seeking benefits under the Child Status Protection Act. Now, that law protects children who aged out or turned 21 years of age, and it's based on a complex mathematical formula. However, if the child meets the requirements of the Child Status Protection Act, their age is locked in. However, if the parent then goes and naturalizes after the child's biological 21st birthday, it really could ruin the child's CESPA eligibility. I had a case once where the child qualified under the Child Status Protection Act, but then the parent went out and naturalized after the child's 21st birthday, destroying their eligibility under the Child Status Protection Act. Now, there are many other reasons and grounds a person should not file for naturalization. I just wanted to cover some of the key points that I've come across many, many times. And that's why I recommend that before filing for naturalization, you consult with an attorney. And if you have any questions or any issues, just don't have the attitude of, what, I'm just going to file and I'm going to see what happens. And if it gets denied, then I'm going to go to an attorney. Just because you were not discovered or caught when you got your green card does not mean you're going to be so lucky when you file for naturalization. And by that time, it may be too late. And you've already rocked the boat or you've woken up USCIS to the fact that you may not have been eligible for your green card in the first place. I hope you found this video helpful either for yourself or for someone you know who may be contemplating filing for naturalization and they have questions or issues in their case or situation. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video because I am constantly posting videos concerning immigration developments, changes in law, hopefully, as well as these type of informational videos, which I hope can help many of you out there. And again, thank you for watching. I'm Michael Gurfinkel, and this is US Immigration TV.